Did you know there's a big chance that Gru and Maxim, the new villain in the franchise, were childhood friends? Or that Gru might be the big hero of the next movie, even though he hasn't appeared in the trailer? We've gathered all the information we've found, along with some theories about everything in the Despicable Me 4 movie. To find out what most people still don't know, just stick around until the end of this video. Where's Gru? Watching the new Despicable Me 4 trailer surely got many people super excited to see the new movie featuring Gru and his family. Just like we saw new characters, especially the little Gru Jr. and Poppy, we also noticed the presence of a character that has been significant in the franchise: Drew, Gru's twin brother. We saw several cool scenes and many details about the story that will unfold, with Gru and his family needing to go to a town called Mayflower to escape the wrath of an old enemy of Gru, whom we'll talk more about in a moment. But amidst all the excitement and funny scenes involving the minions and the girls, we never see Drew in any of the scenes. This could mean three things. 1. Drew might have been simply cut from the movie by Illumination, which wouldn't be a good idea considering Drew gained many fans in Despicable Me 3. 2. Illumination chose to leave him out of the trailers for strategic reasons to pique our curiosity. 3. Just as Gru promised at the end of the third movie, he really gave his brother a few minutes head start, but ended up hunting him down and capturing him, as that's his job in the Anti-Villain League. Honestly, I believe the third option is undoubtedly the most likely, and it's very likely that we'll see Drew at some point in the movie, visiting Drew in prison to hang out or just shoot the breeze. Where are the minions? Another question that caught the attention of millions of fans was the fact that we only saw the franchise's three main minions in the trailer: Kevin, Stuart, and Bob. Just like Drew, the last time we saw most of the group of small yellow beings was at the end of Despicable Me 3, when they were setting off in search of opportunities to commit mischief. So the fact that they don't appear only confirms the previous hypothesis related to Drew being imprisoned in some place reserved for villains. But besides this possibility, there are two more. One of them, the less likely, would be that all the other minions are on vacation, since in the previous movies, Gru mentioned he needed to organize their vacations better because it was interfering with his work. In addition to these two chances, there's still the third option that now, practically all the minions, except the three main ones, could be working directly for the Anti-Villain League, as helpers in the laboratories where super weapons similar to those Lucy used the first time she met Gru are produced. And if that happens, there's even a chance that Drew is also working for the Anti-Villain League, following the example of his twin brother, who used to be one of the best villains in the world, but now he himself captures villains. It would be really cool to see Gru and Drew as a duo of AVL agents. If you, like us, believe that Gru's blonde-haired twin brother will also appear in the new movie, comment down below, #Drew. Poppy is related to Gru. Since Despicable Me 3, we've noticed that the franchise was expanding the storylines of the characters through blood ties, as we met Drew and saw a painting with the image of the father of the two twin brothers who, it seems, had a solid career in the world of crime. In fact, Drew himself mentions that their father was very proud of Gru and his actions as a villain, indicating that Gru was, and is, well known among villains around the world. Furthermore, we can also deduce that Gru's family has strong connections to villainous traditions, since both his father and his brother, albeit unsuccessfully, also walked the path of wrongdoing. This leads us to a very interesting hypothesis about one of the next main characters in the fourth movie of the franchise: Poppy. Officially, Illumination has stated that Poppy is just a neighbor in the new city where the family moves, who admires Gru as a villain and is also an aspiring villain. Now, if we think about it a little, we might wonder why Poppy would be living exactly in the same place where Gru and his family were directed to hide, or how she would become a fan of Gru even though he hasn't been a villain for some time. Everything would be very simple if Poppy were a member of Gru and Drew's villainous family. Another point that helps reinforce this theory is the character's characteristic nose, which is long and pointed, just like Gru's. This would confirm the genetic connection between the villain and the girl. The only question would be whether Poppy is a distant daughter of Drew, or even a daughter of Gru that he didn't even know existed. Perhaps, who knows, from the time he studied at the Villain Academy, which is very relevant to the next two theories. Maxime Le Mal and Gru were friends. We know that the name of the villain seeking revenge on Gru is Maxime Le Mal. So far, he hadn't appeared or been mentioned in any of the franchise's other films, but now we know that he harbors such a deep hatred for Gru that the first thing he'll try to do when he escapes is to get revenge on his now enemy. Yes, I said now because we believe that in the past there's a good chance Gru and Maxime were great friends, especially when they studied together at the Villain Academy. In fact, when we see Gru, along with his baby Poppy, Kevin, and Bob invading the school, maybe this is a demand from Maxime himself to free the girls and Lucy, whom he may have kidnapped. At some point in the past, probably because of some excessively evil plan created by Maxime that Gru didn't agree with and may have even helped to foil, Maxime holds some resentment and desire for revenge against our villain hero. So, we can consider that teenage friendship may have turned into a rivalry that now puts Gru's family at risk, which would make a lot of sense, don't you think? And besides being, let's say, former friends, there's also another possibility, that Valentina was Gru's girlfriend. Just like Maxime, probably Valentina, the woman who is with Maxime in his escape, must have been one of the students who studied at the Villains Academy. But more than that, there's a good chance she was the cause of the enmity between Gru and Maxime. Because, since she wanted to do evil, since she has a villainous nature, Valentina could have perfectly poisoned Maxime against Gru, which could have ended the friendship of the two young men at the time. This is all just speculation, but now that we know there really is a kind of Hogwarts focused on potential little villains, it would make sense if all the villains in the movie, including Gru, studied and were contemporaries of the same period of study. Who knows? If this is true, imagining an extraordinary plot twist in the movie, Valentina could even be Poppy's mother. Man, if that really happens, it's gonna be simply incredible. And if you want to receive notifications of our next sensational videos where we talk about movies, series, and animations, click on the subscription button down below. Gru and Mel's Badger have a history together. Considering that time at the Academy, there's even a chance that the incredible wild animal, the Academy's mascot, are old acquaintances from the past. Honey badgers have two very interesting characteristics. The first is the fact that they are very aggressive animals, which really makes sense, since we know the animal matches the school that recommends being unpleasant. In addition, their other characteristic is the fact that honey badgers can live up to 24 years. This could mean that Drew and the mascot might even know each other from the past, at a time when everyone probably attended school. Perhaps the animal holds some grudge from the time Gru may have played a prank on the poor creature, which certainly isn't anything impossible. Then, it focused, as we saw in the trailer, all its wrath on Gru. At the moment we see this happening, we also notice that there may even be a possibility of Principal Ubelschle being Gru's aunt. As we mentioned before, we now know that Gru's entire family is in one way or another involved in villain activities, whether practicing them, capturing villains like Gru does now, or maybe even training new villains for the world. This is exactly the role that Principal Ubelschle, the small and apparently ruthless little lady, fulfills by running with her small iron hands the largest and best villainous academy on the continent. This would make Principal Ubelschle and Gru's mother possibly sisters, since they seem to be somewhat contemporary. And not only that, both seem to be really very wicked. This would help explain how Gru knows the entrance through which he and his baby go to get to the principal's office, which would make perfect sense. These were all the details and theories involving the story and the connections between the points we discovered in the latest Despicable Me 4 trailer, indicating that indeed the next movie featuring Gru and the Minions will be amazing. While we eagerly await the moment we can see this historic release, let's relax by watching these super cool videos that are coming up for you now. Just pick one and click on it. Thanks, and have fun.